panel discussion with the outstanding panelists, allow me to pass on a few introductory messages, show you a couple of slides, mostly consisting of logos, and of course, many of you here in the room will recognize yourselves under one of these logos or the umbrella organizations represented here and also represented in the room and beyond. This is the universe of the different institutional relationships that we as the joint venture have managed to develop over the past 3 years. It is not exhaustive, not all the logos are there. This slide will keep growing. I want to imagine how it looks after 7 or maybe 10 years. And of course, our mandate in this is dual. On the one hand, we want to build sustainable long-term supplier relationships with the rail supply community, which is of course very critical for the design and delivery phase. But at the same time, and this is the second dimension, we also from day one want to commercialize Rail Baltica with the view of the future use of this infrastructure, again viewing Rail Baltica not merely as a construction endeavor, but rather as an ecosystem, as an economic corridor, and we strongly believe in the philosophy of involving our future users at the early stage, as early as possible. And of course here we have both national railway institutions, and these oftentimes are the natural partners for us as the joint venture, because it allows us to reach out to a wide community of nationally based but oftentimes international suppliers and companies, but also, of course, most of the big railway organizations, logistics organizations are represented, and I think it is very important to place Rail Baltica in the middle of this network of European and global railway stakeholders. One iteration of this slide was already shown earlier this morning, but again, this represents the truly international nature of Rail Baltica. I think my colleagues described very extensively how we promote the internationalization of Rail Baltica, how we promote the synergy between international know-how and local capabilities. But I'm very pleased that in our transparent and highly competitive tenders, we have managed to attract, as you can see, very interesting partners. And of course, many more will follow, so this slide will also grow. And last but not least, just to put some topics on the table for today's discussions, and we will of course be also using Slido, so everyone has a chance to pose questions to the panelists. But again, we would like to reflect in this panel on this pan-European nature of the project, also liaise with you as our community, as our Rail Baltica family, to see how we can further streamline this cooperation. We also want to discuss the role of these supplier relationships, again also promoting the possibilities for local and international synergies, also developing long-term know-how for the Baltic fledgling railway industries. And at the end of the day, I hope we come up with some recommendations, also maybe some critical remarks with regard to how we can further streamline the procurement processes, international supplier relationships, so that we can deliver Rail Baltica as best as possible.